So you got into stand-up comedy from the traditional route that many people have trod.
Yes,
being in
bad relationship with father, bullied at school. Yeah.
You're not the first.
Low self-esteem and need to be liked.
Yeah, that's true. You were in the Merchant Navy, which is also the case for my friend Peter Bainham.
Yes.
What age? He was very young when he went to the Merchant Navy.
I was 18.
Oh, yeah, he was 16, I think, when he went to the Merchant Navy. So, did you? He didn't really enjoy it in the Merchant Navy. Your dad was.
My dad and his dad and my
yeah.
uncles, everyone from... Because
Yeah.
when you're from a place that's a shithole, there's very few things to do. And one of which is to fuck off into the Merchant Navy. So, yeah, I did it because my dad had done it and all that. It's good life.
Yeah.
If you're a single man who likes to carouse, I think carousing's the word I would
To have sex with racist strangers in a boat? Have gay sex with loads of racists? Is that...
Straight away. You went there straight away.
That's why the cruise will be good for you. At least it's going to be old women this time rather than...
Oh, you think they're not going to be racist? How many 80-year-olds have you seen with rainbow flags lately? I don't understand it. It scares me. Now take me support hose off. Let's get with it. No, it's just, you just sort of travel around the world, really, with some pretty insane people. Because we would go away for 6 months.
Yeah.
And so it was people who just used to run away from their lives or didn't have a life. Like, we had one guy who's called the Nose because he had the biggest nose I've ever seen. That was it. That was the nickname. Factory wasn't on overtime that day. But I've never known anyone like that. Like, he used to do you want to come to the brothel? He's from Northern Ireland. Do you want to come to the brothel with me? And I was like, I don't want to go anywhere with you. A Lord of the Rings convention, maybe. But, yeah, and it was just all, it was crazy. Like, you'd go to places, like, go to Ukraine and stuff like that, and, like, they had the Seaman's mission in Ukraine, which is, like, where they have a priest and stuff as outreach to the sailors on ships, is also a brothel. It really goes full circle around, and it's a bar as well, and it sold champagne for $1 a bottle.
Okay.
And so whenever you'd go there, that was the biggest thing. Like, some of the crew would like to go for the brothel aspect of it. I was terrified of HIV, so I was like, you seem like nice girls, but not for me. Thanks, now, bye. But this champagne, $1 a bottle, and I went ashore once, and we were leaving. We were going to sail the ship at 5, and we had a chief engineer with us called Brian, who was the best alcoholic I've ever seen. Like, the best. Like, Alcoholic Olympics, gold every time. He used to drink a bottle of rum every night, and he had 4 cans of Guinness for his breakfast, and that was it. Wow. And he didn't eat anything. And you can live like that. You can. And, well, he died.
Yeah.
He died. He died. And it was about 4 years later, I was on a different ship, and they came in and said, I just got to let you know that Brian's died. And we were like, all right. And someone said, what did he die of? And they said it was cancer of the stomach. And one of the other lads went, it just goes to show you never see it coming. Like, I think the train was on the tracks a long time ago. But we said at lunchtime, we're going to go and get this $1 a bottle champagne. And Brian, the chief engineer, said, I'll come with you. I've never seen this Seaman missions. I'll come with you. And I said, well, I'm going there and I'm coming straight back. And I'm like, and on this dock, they couldn't get a taxi or anything. It was a 2-mile walk to the dock gate where the Seaman's mission was. I was like, I'm walking up there. I've got the trolley. I'm walking up there and I'm walking straight back with like 5 cases or whatever it was. He went, come, I've never seen it. We got like halfway there and he went, I told them you wouldn't be back this afternoon. Let's go on the piss. So we sat just drinking, like proper Russian vodka, proper like make you blind vodka, all like $1 bottle champagne, and it gets to like 5 o'clock, and then someone from the ship turns up, and like, what the fuck are you doing here? We're sailing. I was like, all right, and I turned around and Brian was just face down. And I was like, Christ, what am I going to do? I'm trying to wake him up, and he won't wake up. I'm punching him in the face, which is probably counterintuitive. But and then I sort of dragged him out, and I couldn't. He wouldn't wake up. He was just out. He was an absolute flaked alcoholic. And I saw an ambulance at the dock gate, and I staggered over, and I said to the ambulance guy, excuse me, can you take me to the ship? And he went, I'm an ambulance, no. And I said, how much money do you make a month? And he told me, and I said, what's that in American dollars? And he said, $50. I went, I'll give you $500 to take me to the ship. And he went, get in the back. So I got in the back, I put all the champagne in the back, I dragged Brian, strapped him to the trolley. He's awake now and singing, I'm Jolly Jack the Sailor and the king of all the seas. And the fucking ambulance driver's trying to drive all the way down. The fucking bottles are clinking everywhere. One of them burst like that. I'm going, it's not usually like this. I'm an officer on this ship. It's quite interesting, isn't it? And then we get there, and Brian's passed out again, like completely unconsciously passed out. And all the crew come down, the captain's shouting, and they're running, and they're getting the case of champagne, and he wouldn't wake up. And we got rid of the cargo, which meant the ship was higher, so the gangway was steeper, right. And I couldn't think of anything. And they're going, get him on, and no one, he's like a liquid. You ever when someone's that pissed, they're just liquid. Pick them up and they just go, not now, right? So I was a bit pissed. I just went, get the crane. So we got the crane. And I tied a rope around his feet and we hoisted him up by his feet. And we brought him in and he landed and he bumped his head. We didn't land him on his head. He like landed zzz, and it went like dung, and he woke up and he went, what the fuck's going on here? And then chased me around the ship, pissed. Happy times, Richard Herring, happy times. There was loads of those. All of them were different. There was another guy. These are one of my favourite people because they would all tell stories, which is what I like. I like telling stories. But there's a guy called. Hang on, he might still be alive because this is brilliant. We'll just call him Dr. Ian because he kept telling us he was a doctor. He got a doctorate in his spare time because that's what you do when you're on a ship. You fucking idiot, right? And he was a bullshitter. You know when you meet those people who just bullshit? You know, my brother's a spy. You know what I mean? And those people, if you ever call them out, they'll stop doing it. See, and we're so bored, we never wanted to call him out because his stories were so good. And we'd be in the engine room working going, which one should we get him to tell tonight? All right. And he had a one about a giraffe because... Now, all these stories have a tiny bit of truth at the bottom. He had been on the ship that had delivered the animals for Whipsnade Zoo because he had a picture of himself on the deck of a ship, and there was all the cages with the, the GNU and the fucking, all the animals.
Yeah, the GNU was the one that...
Yeah.
Jumped to mind out of all the boss. The GNU.
Well,
The other animals. Can only think of a GNU.
Well, Whipsnade still had the GNU-only policy in place at that point. Very, very short-sighted of them. I think as a business model, it really did fail. We had, like, GNU, hamster, stick insect, rat. It's a bit of a... Once you spent your money on the GNU, you know what I mean? But this was his story, and we used to get him to tell it because he was also one of those people that was always right, and he wouldn't play Trivial Pursuit because some of the answers are wrong. Fucking knobhead! And so we'd figure out all day how we would try and get him to tell an animal. We'd get into an animal area, and then he would start with the Whipsnade Zoo story. And so we'd be fucking pulling engines apart, going, how should we do it? How should we do it? I don't know. So mine was, hey, bloody hell, Dr. Ian. Last night we were playing Trivial Pursuit. Some of the answers are wrong. Yeah, I know. And it said that the dolphin was the animal with the highest blood pressure. He was in a pre-ejaculatory state at that point. It's actually the giraffe. It's actually the giraffe. And we go, all right, how do you know that? Well, I was on the ship that brought the Whipsnade animal. No, were you really? and he was. And he would run up to his cabin, scurry up to his cabin and get the picture, and it was him on the deck. And then his giraffe story. This is the best story I've ever heard in terms of expecting other people to believe it. Okay. He would say, oh yeah, we got to Southampton docks and we... We're taking the giraffe off, and he said, very mischievous, a giraffe. I'm not sure if you're aware. Very mischievous, the giraffe. And so the giraffe got its head out of the cage and put its head into the crane driver's little box thing, like that. And we were just sitting there trying not to piss ourselves laughing, going, Then what happened? And he went, well, then the giraffe starts nudging the levers with its nose. And the crane driver, he runs off because he'd never seen a giraffe before. And he was frightened. So we were like, oh, bloody hell, what's happening? He said, well, the cage is flying everywhere. The giraffe's nudging it with its nose, isn't it? And we were like, what did you do? He said, well, I ran and climbed to the top of the cage. He was 25 stone. I don't know how he thought he could climb to the top of the crane. I climbed to the top of the crane, one of the highlights coming up, he said, and I ran in and I saw the giraffe and I went, hey, stop it. And he did, because he knew us, right? Because he knew us. What happened then? He said, well, then I got the crane, hugely complicated piece of equipment, a crane, but now he knows how to drive it. I got the crane and I lowered the cage to the ground. Oh, thank God it was safe. But the cage was damaged. Oh, and the giraffe got out. No! And started running along the docks at Southampton. We're going, oh my God, what an amazing story, Dr. Ian, you absolute bullshitting twat. And we said, yeah, he ran, and I saw him, and then he turned right to the dock. How the fuck did the giraffe know? We said, what happened next? And then another classic bit, he went, well, then I got out my pistol and commandeered a car. Pistol? We've got pistol in the story now, not mentioned before, but what an amazing revelation. So he said, I commandeered a car. I said, what did you say? He went, I'm going to go and get a giraffe. I mean, that's not what you say when you commandeer a car. And he said, and I followed him up the whatever the road is, the A40 or something like that. And that's the other thing that bothered me about this story for years, is he thought that the giraffe's running along the road surface with fields all around it going, oh, I've been on them before. Fuck it, I'm going to go on this now. This is better. Then another highlight coming up, he said, so I pulled up next to the giraffe and, I quote, flagged it down. So he'd flagged down the giraffe. We are literally dying with laughter. There'll be about 8 of us. The best bit is about to come up. I'm gifting this to all your listeners. This is the best bit of the story, Richard Herring. Okay. And this was told to me with a straight face. Okay. This is better than any comedian you've ever seen ever, and I promise you, right? We said, so what happened? He said, well, I flagged it down, and then we waited at the side of the road for the van. The van. And I said, what, were you just holding its hoof? And he went, I'm not an idiot, I had it in a headlock. I swear to God he said that. I swear to God. Amazing. Just standing there, the RAC man coming up going, drive on, mate, I've got this, you're all right. He knows what he's done. Don't you know what you've done? I've got loads of these.
Yeah.
I've got hours of it, mate. I got a call once where the crew said, we're sinking. I said, we're 6 floors above the sea. And we're not fucking sinking. And he said, there's water coming in my cabin. So I went in, there's water pissed into his cabin. So I went to the cabin above. It was the second mate, who I know is alive, who's asked me not to put his name to this story. Okay. In the port beforehand, he bought a blow-up doll and thought for a more realistic feeling, he would fill it with warm water. So he did that, got on it, and it clearly just went like that. The better part of the story comes next, where we all took the mick out of him for ages, and then when you're coming into port, often the captain will pass around a clipboard for things that people might want. Like one guy liked trucks, it was like a trucking magazine, some magazine called Truck and Driver, I don't know, something like that, or like chocolate or something like that, and he put down bicycle puncture repair kit. We were like, where's the bicycle on the ship that you're using? Oh, you never know.